Good morning, distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all warmly welcome to the Niger Delta Agricultural Development and Investment Summit 2026. It's an honor to have you in the room, everyone, looking radiant this morning. Please, I would like you to welcome the person seated next to you with a handshake and a warm smile. Please. Get to meet the person seated next to you. Find out how they are doing this morning. Find out where they are from in the Niger Delta. Oh, yes. I'm a proud daughter of the Niger Delta, so I know how we do our things. We are visible, we are loud, we make a statement everywhere. Indeed, Abuja has felt the presence of the Niger Delta in Abuja today. Please, a round of applause for yourselves, everyone. You can make it better. I mean, thank you so much. I'd like to apologize first and foremost. We had a lot of guests coming here quite early. It is not intentional in any way that we're starting a bit behind schedule. It's just to make room for our dignitaries to join us. As you know, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will be joining us for this event. And so we'd like everyone to please do the needful as we expect him to join us shortly. So once again, sincere apologies for starting a bit behind schedule. I'll quickly make a few recognitions, and then we will unofficially begin, because the official commencement of this event will be when the Vice President joins us. But for now, I'd like to recognize some key stakeholders that are present with us. And just before I mention our government dignitaries, or if you like, dignitaries from different government houses, I'd like to respectfully recognize our revered traditional rulers, the custodians of our rich cultural heritage, the guardians of our customs and traditions, an enduring symbol of unity and identity. Ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for all our traditional rulers that are here with us. They are all colorfully dressed, and we are happy to see them in our midst. I must also mention in that category that we have the Amanyanabo of the Source, Alhaji Mujahid Abubakar Dokubo Asari, Dabaye Amakri, one in the room. Please, a thunderous applause for him. I'm sure you saw the grand entrance when he joined us, so of course he deserves that applause. Thank you so much to our traditional rulers. Of course, I can see our traditional rulers from the ancient city of Benin, also wonderfully dressed. Thank you so much for joining us for this occasion. It's also important for me to mention that we have the representative of the governor of Akwa Ibom State seated in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's celebrate the deputy governor of Akwa Ibom State, Senator Dr. Mrs. Akon Eyakenyi. Please a round of applause for her. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. All other dignitaries here, we sincerely welcome you and appreciate you for being here. Of course, as we talk about agriculture, we have the national president of AFAN, Honorable Mohammed Magaji, present in the room. Please a round of applause for him. Thank you so much. And of course, the country director, IFAD, is also with us, Dede Ekoyi. Please a round of applause for her. Please, let's celebrate them. Thank you. These are our partners, and of course, they will ensure the success of this event. We also have present with us Dr. Abdul Kamara, the Acting Vice President, African Development Bank and DG for Nigeria. Please a round of applause for Dr. Kamara. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here for the conversation. The theme for this event is unlocking investment for sustainable agricultural transformation in the Niger Delta. And I'll quickly make a few more recognitions before we get into some introductions of today's event. We have with us the chairman, MD, CEO, Governing Board of the NDDC, present for this event. Of course, this is in partnership with the Office of the Vice President of Nigeria. So I'll quickly recognize all the board members of the NDDC that are here present. And of course, specifically, the Chairman Governing Board, Niger Delta Development Commission, Mr. Chiedu Ebiye. Please a round of applause for him. Thank you so much, sir. And of course, we have the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Dr. Samuel Ogbuku, with us. Please a round of applause for the NDDC. For those of us who are from the NDDC, we know the impact that that organization has done. The NDDC has indeed transformed the lives of Niger Deltans, whether it's Edo, whether it's Ondo, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, just name it. The 9 Niger Delta states have indeed felt the impact of the NDDC. And no wonder the government, or if you like, the federal government, has decided to create more development commissions as a result of the impact which the NDDC has brought to that particular region. This event is also being powered by the NDDC. And as you know, the Niger Delta is rich in oil. This event is also here to let us know that beyond what we have under the ground, we also have so much on the surface in terms of agriculture and how we can harness that for the development of our region and Nigeria in general is the reason for this conversation. We have more guests joining us for this meeting, and joining us now is the Honorable Minister of Regional Development, Engineer Abubakar Momo. Please a round of applause for him as it makes his way to his seat. And yes, as I mentioned, we will make more recognitions as our guests come in. We also have ambassadors from different countries who are here present, members of the diplomatic community. You are welcome sincerely, and we appreciate you for joining us for the conversation, and we appreciate all your input in our development right here in Nigeria. And just before we make more recognitions, I'd like to invite to the podium for an address on unlocking investment in the Niger Delta. This, of course, will set a tone just before we get to the official start of this event. And it is on unlocking investment in the Niger Delta, which will be delivered by Dr. Winifred Madume, the Director of Agriculture and Fisheries, Niger Delta Development Commission. Please a round of applause for her as she comes forward for this presentation. I'd also like to recognize all the commissioners that are here present representing their governors. The 9 governors of the Niger Delta states are with us in the room. We have the representatives, and of course, in the course of the event, we will introduce them. Please, another round of applause for her as she makes her way to the podium.
Your Excellencies, the governors of the 9 mandate states of NDDC, Engineer Abubakar Momo, FNS, Honorable Minister of Regional Development, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, Honorable Minister, Budget and Planning, Dr. Jumoke Duwale, MFR, Honorable Minister of Trade and Investment, Senator Abubakar Kairi, SON, Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, represented by Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Dr. Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, CON. Mr. Chiedu Ebiye, Esquire, Chairman Governing Board NDDC, Chief Samuel Ogbuku, PhD, MD CEO NDDC, Executive Directors, and board of the NDDC, management committee and directors of NDDC, members of diplomatic corps, honorable commissioners and permanent secretaries, development partners, strategic stakeholders in the agricultural sector, revered traditional rulers, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a privilege to address this distinguished gathering on a subject that is critical, not only to the future of the Niger Delta, but to the future of Nigeria's economy. Today, I'm not here to simply speak about agriculture. I'm here to present a case for investment, not a case built on aspiration, but on assets, not on promises, but on opportunity, and not on what the Niger Delta could become, but on what it is already positioned to achieve. When conversations turn to Niger Delta, it often speaks of what lies beneath our soil. Today, I invite us to focus on what grows from it. The next chapter of the Niger Delta must be written through agriculture, not subsistence agriculture, but modern commercially driven agriculture that attracts investment, creates value, generates employment, and competes globally. That is why today's conversation matters. This is not simply about growing more food. It is about building an agricultural economy that rewards investment, drives industrial growth, and positions the Niger Delta as one of Nigeria's leading destinations for agribusinesses. Why the Niger Delta? Every successful investment begins with one question: why should I invest here rather than anywhere else? The answer is straightforward. The Niger Delta possesses the natural and economic fundamentals that investors seek. Our region is endowed with fertile land, abundant freshwater resources, diverse ecological zones, extensive coastline and inland waterways, and access to major domestic and export markets. Our 9-mandate state lies enormous potential for crop production, aquaculture, livestock, agro-processing, and agricultural trade. Combined with a young and energetic population, these advantages position the Niger Delta not merely as a production hub, but as a competitive agricultural economy waiting to be scaled. The Niger Delta is not short of potential. It is short of investment. Agriculture is an investment opportunity. Around the world, the global conversation on agriculture has changed. Agriculture is no longer viewed simply as a development sector. It is now recognized as a strategic investment sector. It creates wealth. It strengthens economies. It secures nations. Here in Nigeria, agriculture contributes about 28% of our gross domestic product and supports around 40% of our workforce. The numbers tell one story. The investment opportunity tells an even bigger story. Why this moment matters? Capital moves where confidence exists. Confidence grows where there is leadership, coordination, and credible opportunities. That is precisely what makes this summit significant. For the first time, government, development finance institutions, private investors, and strategic partners are coming together around a shared vision for agricultural transformation in the Niger Delta. This is more than a conversation. It is the beginning of stronger coordination, deeper partnerships, and a deliberate effort to create an environment where investment can thrive. So where should investors be looking? Not at isolated projects, not at short-term gains, but at industries capable of generating value for decades. This morning, I ask us to see three people. See the fisherman who leaves home before dawn, but loses value because there is no cold chain. See the woman who processes fish with skill and endurance, but needs modern smoking kilns, packaging, certification, and market access. And see the young graduate who has an agribusiness idea, but needs land clarity, extension support, an off-taker who can buy at scale. None of them is asking for pity. They're asking for systems. A road, a hatchery, a soil test, a cold room, a field meal. This is what investment means to them. Investment means today their labor finally becomes wealth. Now allow me to highlight 4 investment frontiers that have the potential to reshape agriculture in the Niger Delta. Number 1 is fisheries, aquaculture, and the blue economy. The Niger Delta has extensive rivers, creeks, and coastlines give it a natural advantage that few regions can match. Demand for fish continues to grow, yet local production still falls short. This presents opportunities across the entire value chain, from hatcheries and feed production to commercial aquaculture, cold chain infrastructure, processing, and distribution. This is not simply an investment in food production. It is an investment in an industry with significant room for growth. Every fish imported into Nigeria is a reminder that someone else is capturing value that could be created here. Number 2 is crop production and value addition. The future of agriculture lies in producing more raw commodities. The future of agriculture lies not in producing more raw commodities, but in producing more value. The Niger Delta has the capacity to become a major center for crop production and agro-processing. Cassava, oil palm, cocoa, rice, plantain, and other strategic crops can support thriving industries that manufacture food products, industrial inputs, and export commodities. These greatest returns will come from processing, packaging, and accessing higher value markets. And number 3 is livestock and agribusiness services. Livestock presents another significant frontier. Beyond production itself are opportunities in breeding, feed manufacturing, animal health, veterinary services, processing, and distribution. Each segment strengthens the next, creating an integrated value chain capable of supporting profitable enterprises while improving national food security. And then number 4, every successful agricultural economy is built on infrastructure, and investors do not build billion-naira businesses on weak foundations. Roads matter, power matters, irrigation matters, storage matters. Infrastructure is not the supporting cast of agriculture. It is actually the stage on which agriculture succeeds. That is precisely why this summit matters. Taken together, these are not isolated opportunities. They represent a diversified investment landscape with multiple entry points for private capital. The evidence is clear. The natural resources exist. The market is growing. The value chains are expanding. The partnerships are strengthening, and Niger Delta is ready to compete. A direct invitation to investors. The investment case has been made. The decision now belongs to those with the vision to seize it. To Nigerian businesses, I say this: the Niger Delta is ready for greater investment. Expand your operations, build processing facilities, invest in logistics, support commercial agriculture, create businesses that add value from farm to market. To international investors, I extend a clear invitation. The Niger Delta offers access to one of Africa's largest consumer markets. a strategic location for regional trade and diverse opportunities across agricultural value chains. Bring your technology, bring your expertise, bring patent capital. Together, we can build globally competitive agribusinesses that deliver strong commercial returns while strengthening food security and economic growth. And to our development finance institutions, commercial banks, and investment partners, continue to work with us to unlock financing for commercially viable agricultural enterprises. Join us to prepare stronger projects, deepen access to capital, and accelerate private sector participation. The opportunities are here. The demand is real. The market is growing. Them and the courage to act. 10 years from now, what should be said of this day? Let it be said that at Aso Rock, Niger Delta now export processed, traceable, quality food. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Niger Delta has never lacked potential. What it has lacked is investment at the scale required to unlock that potential. Today, we have presented a different story, a story of opportunity, a story of enterprise, a story of value, a story of partnership. The investment case is clear. The fundamentals are strong. The opportunities are bankable. The time to act is now. Let history record that this summit was not where we merely spoke about transforming agriculture in the Niger Delta. Let it record that this was where government, investors, and the private sector chose to build that future together. The Niger Delta powered Nigeria's economy yesterday. Through agriculture, it can help secure Nigeria's prosperity tomorrow. Thank you, and may God bless the Niger Delta Development Commission and the Federal Republic of
Please, another round of applause for Dr. Winifred Madume. Thank you so much. The message is simple. The Niger Delta has powered Nigeria's economy for decades. Today, it is poised to power Nigeria's food security. Brilliant introduction of this event. Thank you so much once again, Madam. Indeed, the future of the Niger Delta is not only in the oil wells, but also in the farms, rivers, forests, and fisheries. At this point, I would like to make a few more recognitions, and before we make some progress to the next item on the agenda. We have joining us for this event. It's an honor, I must say, to have the Oba of Benin, His Royal Majesty, Omonoba Nedu Ukwakwolokolo, Oba Ewa II, ably represented by Chief Oseni Elama, the Okaivore of Benin, and Chief Barrister B.A. Ogbebo, the Osagwobaro of Benin. Please, a round of applause for them. Indeed, the ancient city of Benin is one place you must visit in Nigeria, no matter where you are from. As we say, in Benin, great things happen. And I would want to say this. If you know the response, kindly respond. Oba Gatokwe. Fantastic. Thank you so much, the Oba of Benin, for joining us through your representatives. We also have other important guests present here. We have the Minister Counselor of the Embassy of the People's Republic of China, Zhuo Huikai, PhD. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you very much for joining us for the conversation. Also present here with us this morning is Mohammed Ibrahim, Executive Secretary and CEO of the National Agricultural Development Fund, represented by the Head of Investment, Olalekan Alabi. Thank you for joining us. Also present is a Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Livestock Development, representing the Minister of Livestock Development, Dr. Mrs. Chinyere Akujobi. Please, a round of applause for her. Thank you so much, madam, for joining us. Also present is Mr. Mohammed Sanusi Danjuma, FC. That are here representing the ministers that are supposed to be joining us for this conversation. It's also important that I mention that we have some governors being represented here, and I would like to recognize the representative of the governor of Edo State, Senator Mande Okwevelu, ably represented by the Commissioner for Agriculture, Edo State, Dr. Jerry Uwangwe. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Also present is a representative of the governor of Ondo State. His Excellency, Lucky Ayedatiwa, is ably represented by Akinola. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you so much, sir, for being in the room. I would also quickly mention that we have with us Alabo Honorable Boma Iyaye, Executive Director, Finance and Administration at the NDDC. Please, a thunderous applause for him. Thank you for joining us here. And of course, the Executive Director, Projects at the NDDC, Sir Victor Antai, PhD. Thank you for being here. Also present is Otumba Honorable Ifedayo Abegunde, Executive Director, Corporate Services at the NDDC. I'd also like to recognize all our development partners that are here, captains of industry, representatives of development finance institutions who have gathered for this very important conversation this morning. You're all warmly welcome. Now time to make some progress. And of course, it's now time to hear from the governor of Akwa Ibom State, who is ably represented by his deputy. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for Senator Dr. Mrs. Akon Eyekeni as she comes forward. Please, that applause can be better. You know what they say, if you want something said, ask a man. But if you want something done, ask a woman. Please, another applause for her as she comes forward.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers here present, the Managing Director of NDDC, our brother, Chief Dr. Samuel Opoku, and all the management staff that are here with of the people, a man who is deeply concerned in developing the agricultural sector in Akwa Ibom State. I'm talking about His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, who had planned to be here with you today, but call to duty made him not to be physically present, and so he had asked me to come in here with the Commissioner for Agric and the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agric, Akwa Ibom State, because of the value and the concern he has for the development of this sector. He gave me a written down remark to present on his behalf. So I want to please request you allow me present the governor's remark. Permit me to thank officially the office of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for the kind invitation extended to me to be a part of this great event. That's the governor speaking, and for also midwifing this summit with the NDDC. It is an eloquent testament to their commitment to actualize the renewed hope agenda of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Permit me to specially commend the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, for partnering with the Office of the Vice President to put together this great summit. Agriculture is a major plank of our rice agenda in Akwa Ibom State. As a matter of fact, the letter A in our governance blueprint, the Arise agenda, stands for agricultural revolution. We believe that food sufficiency and investment in agro-allied industries are strategic both for the well-being of our people and economic. Before I became a member of the State Executive Council, and today, as governor, was an executive director of Agric Investments. When I became governor, my first trip outside the state was to the Benin Republic to see firsthand what had made the Songhai farms in Port Novo such a roaring success. We saw a few things they did, and armed with our own vision, we commenced work on our Igbo model farm, a fully integrated farm with tourism assets. Today, it stands as a testament to the vision and drive for food sufficiency that we stand for. Since this is an investment summit, funded through trading in Ghana. We have partnered with NIFO and are set to bring back her previously known position as the leading producer of palm oil and the value chain in the nation. We are targeting our rural dwellers, and we believe that this initiative will bring about generational wealth to our rural community. Again, we are ready to partner with investors in this regard. We are, as the theme of this summit so eloquently states, ready to unlock investment for sustainable agricultural transformation in the Niger Delta. I therefore invite investors to partner with us in our drive to bring about agric revolution, not only in our state, but in the Niger Delta and indeed the nation. Finally, I believe this summit will help in harmonizing policies and bring strong synergy among stakeholders, including the federal and the state governments, the Niger Delta Development Commission, investors, farmers, and funders. Once again, I want to thank the Office of the Vice President of Nigeria and the Niger Delta Commission for the effort at rewriting the economic story of Niger Delta region through this summit. I wish you all a great and successful summit. Thank you.
That's the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State. Please, that applause should be better. Thank you very much, ma'am. Akwa Ibom, the land of promise. And like she said, investment follows vision, but it remains where there is peace, transparency, and partnership. Of course, in this whole initiative, we need all the partnership that we can get. And we have some partners that are here with us. I'll quickly make a few more recognitions before we announce the arrival of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We have joining us for the conversation the Managing Director and CEO of NDPHC, Engineer Jennifer Adigije. Please, a round of applause for her. Thank you, ma'am, for being in the room. Also present is the Country Director, World Bank, Dr. Matthew Vegas, represented by Dr. Hadwick Charlie, Lead Agricultural Economist and Task Team Leader of the ACRO project. Thank you so much to the World Bank. We also have the Senior Special Assistant to the President of Community Engagement, South-South, Honorable Gate Jumbo, and Honorable Chioma Mweze, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement Southeast. Thank you for being in the room and joining us for the conversation. Also present is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Regional Development, Dr. Mrs. Mary Ogbe. Please, a round of applause for all our guests. And of course, I can see Maximo De Luca walking into the room, the representative from the EU. Please, a round of applause for him. These are all our partners in progress. Thank you for joining us for the conversation. Also present is Aliyu Abati Abdul Hamid MNI, Chairman and CEO of the Defense Agricultural Assets and Projects Development Company, DAPCO. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you, sir, for being here. And also present is Brigadier General J.B. Adams, the Executive Director at DAPCO. Please, let's celebrate the man in uniform. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Also present is the Honorable Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Dr. Marcus Ogunbiyi. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for this very important conversation. As I mentioned, we will be joined by the Vice President shortly, but while he makes his way into the room, I'd like us to please put our hands together as we make welcome for a brief remark the Minister Counselor at the Embassy of the People's Republic of China, Mr. Zehu Fulkai, PhD. Please, a round of applause for him as he comes forward for his brief remarks. Please come forward. Come forward. Please, let's celebrate him the Nigerian way. Thank you.
Excellencies, honorable ministers, distinguished organizer, esteemed inviters, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's an honor to stand here today. It's Niger Delta Agricultural Development and Investment Summit 2026. On behalf of the Embassy of People's Republic of China in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I extend our warmest congratulations to the organizer for convening this vital event. We gathered it's a defining moment for global development. The Niger Delta has long been recognized as an economic powerhouse. However, the summit signals paradigm-shifting transformation. We are here to unlock the immense wealth that grows on the soil, nurtured by the resilient people and vital water networks of this region. Today, agriculture stands as the ultimate engine for economic diversification, job creation, and rural stability. On the 1st May of this year, China fully implemented its historical zero-tariff policy for all 53 African countries with which we share diplomatic relations. This groundbreaking unilateral initiative eliminates tariffs on imports into China, making us the first major global economy to grant such full coverage market access to Africa. For Nigeria, this policy opened an unprecedented gateway. High-quality Nigerian agricultural products and agro-processed goods can now enter the world Chinese markets. Over 1.2 billion people completely duty-free. This is a structural invitation for global and local investors to build processing plants, upgrade local value chains, and export straight to China with a competitive edge. Furthermore, we believe that the trade access must be paired with technology to achieve true productivity. Just 10 days ago, China officially delivered Nigeria's very first complete set of full-cycle automated cassava mechanization equipment to the National Root Crops Research Institute. This specialized consignment featuring automated planter and combined harvesters automates the entire cassava cultivation cycle. This milestone under Africa Cassava Yield Doubling Initiative is designed to eliminate manual labor, lower production costs, and scale up farmer yields. Cassava is a stable lifeline for millions in Nigeria. This technological empowerment creates an immediate, lucrative launchpad for local farmers and growers who seek to export zero-tariff starch and industrial derivatives directly to Chinese ports. True regional stability and peace are deeply rooted in economic inclusivity. When we invest in agribusiness, build cold chain logistics, and support local smallholders, we protect the social fabric of the region. China remains steadfastly committed to walking this path to Nigeria. We stand ready to facilitate advanced technology transfers, shared sustainable farming practices, and encourage responsible foreign investment that empower local communities. Let us use this summit to further definitive actions and partnerships that transit from blueprints to thriving agriculture in the field. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, China. Please, a round of applause for him. May we all please rise as we make welcome the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON. Please, may we all rise, everyone, and a round of applause, please, for the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, who joins us now for this very important conversation. Your Excellency, you're deeply and warmly welcome. Thank you so much for sparing your time to be here with us. We understand the weight of your schedule, and so being here is indeed an honor, and we do not take it for granted. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. May we all please remain standing as we take the national anthem. Thank you very much. Please take your seats, everyone. Your Excellency, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and special guest of honor, we welcome you once again, sir, for being here. We'd also like to recognize all representatives of the Niger Delta states, governors that are here with us in the room, representatives of ministers who are also here. We deeply appreciate you. We'd also like to recognize the Honorable Minister of Regional Development, Engineer Abubakar Momo, who is right here with us. Mr. Chiedu Ebie, Chairman Governing Board, Niger Delta Development Commission. Dr. Samuel Oguku, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Niger Delta Development Commission. And of course, also present is the Executive Director of Finance and Administration, NDDC, as well as the Executive Director of Projects, NDDC, Senator Sir Victor Antai, PhD. Also the Executive Director of Corporate Services at the NDDC. Members of the National Assembly, members of the NDDC Governing Board, heads of diplomatic missions, development partners, traditional rulers, captains of industry, representatives of development finance institutions, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. You're all warmly welcome once again to this very important occasion at the banquet hall of the presidential villa. Today, history beckons us to look beyond the oil wealth for which the Niger Delta has long been known and embrace an even greater promise. One rooted in the richness of its soil, the resilience of its people, and the limitless opportunities within its agricultural value chain. On behalf of the Office of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Niger Delta Development Commission, it is my honor and privilege to once again welcome you to the Niger Delta Agricultural Development and Investment Summit 2026 with the theme Unlocking Investment for Sustainable Agricultural Transformation in the Niger Delta. As you know, this summit is more than a gathering of policymakers, development partners, investors, captains of industry, and agricultural experts. It is a bold declaration that the future of the Niger Delta lies not only beneath the ground, but also above it, in our farms, our fisheries, our forests, our entrepreneurs, and our people. So as we continue this important engagement, may this conversation inspire innovation, may our partnerships produce lasting impact, and may the decisions reached here today help build a more prosperous, food secure, and economically vibrant Niger Delta for generations to come. My name is Ian Ray John. I am a broadcast journalist with Nigerian Television Authority, and I am delighted to serve as the Director of Ceremony today. Without wasting any more time, I'd like us to please put our hands together as we make welcome a visionary leader at the forefront of Nigeria's agricultural transformation. He's actually championing policies and partnerships that drive productivity, strengthen food security, and position agriculture as a catalyst for economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we make welcome the Senior Special Assistant to the President, Dr. Kingsley Uzoma, as he comes forward for the introduction. That applause can be better, please, as he makes his way off the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. We've actually spent a lot of time, so have to go straight to the introduction to let you know about the entire program, the entire package. This is my introductory remarks. Your Excellency, Vice President Kashim Shettima, Your Excellency, Vice President Kashim Shettima, GCON, His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Honorable Minister of Regional Development, Vice President of the African Development Bank, Permanent Secretaries of the Federal Minister of Livestock, Federal Minister of Agriculture, the Managing Director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, the Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Niger Delta Development Commission, the representative of the European Union Ambassador to Nigeria, the representative of the Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Nigeria, the First Minister of the Embassy, our Royal Highnesses here, representatives of the Upper of Benin, the Chairman of the Ondo State Council of Obas, the Chairman of the River State Council of Traditional Rulers, the Chairman of Abia State Council of Traditional Rulers, and all other traditional rulers ably represented here, including our own very distinguished traditional ruler, Asari Dokubo, who came here very early in the morning. My colleagues, presidential aides, here present. I see community development team. I've seen all other presidential aides present. Honorable commissioners, representative of state governors, you are highly welcome, and we appreciate your coming. On behalf of the and all other distinguished guests, members of the press, on behalf of the Office of the Vice President, I welcome you to the formal proceedings of the Niger Delta Development, Agricultural Development and Investment Summit. A few moments ago, before the arrival of His Excellency Vice President Kashim Shettima, we told his vision and engaged with organizations working across the agricultural ecosystem within the Niger Delta region. The exhibition is a reminder that transforming agriculture is not just the responsibility of government alone, it is our collective responsibility. At the core of this summit is about one thing: connecting Niger Delta's agricultural potential with investment, partnership, and institutions needed to unlock such investments. The region has the land, the waterways, both surface and underground water resources, the natural resources, the very fertile soils in rivers, and all the states in the Niger Delta region, and the entrepreneurial spirit to become one of Nigeria's leading agricultural hubs. The challenge has never been lack of opportunity. It's been creating a coordinated pathway that connects opportunities with capital and implementation. That is why the Office of the Vice President, working closely with the Niger Delta Development Commission, and the governors of the states of the Niger Delta region, mandate states, and our technical partners, development partners, multinational financial institutions, convey this summit is a practical response to the directive of Mr. President to expand non-oil investments, accelerate agricultural development, and position the Niger Delta as a major contributor of growth, in addition to its contribution to our oil resources in the country. Today's program has been deliberately structured to move from vision to action. Our keynote addresses speakers will set the direction for today's discussion. They will outline the federal government vision for food security, present a strategic case for investing in the Niger Delta region, and articulate the framework for mobilizing capital transformation across the region.
So I just have one by the side.
Building on that foundation, the plenary session will focus if the vision for this summit is to succeed, together with the opportunities and investment development within the region, and ensure that smallholder farmers and youth and young people agricultural ecosystem. Our technical partners will then the key the rest of them. For instance, these discussions are expected to generate practical recommendations that will strengthen project development, improve coordination, and shape future investment pipelines within priorities within the region. Finally, today's deliberation will continue with the launch of the and the Niger Delta Agricultural Development and Investment Council. Together, this represents a financial plan that will carry this initiative beyond this cost. It's not just an ordinary summit. They will be supported by the adoption of a communique that captures commitments, actions today, and the roadmaps for implementation going forward.
Extra backlights for the sun.
We should leave the special partners clear share the implementation pathways and confidence that the Niger Delta become one of Nigeria's foremost destinations for investments. That's working together is one way we can easily accomplish and enable this summit. Time for the project and time for this.
Please another round of applause for Dr. Kingsley Uzoma. One man united word production. That's you pace development of the agricultural space. That name, of course, is everything. Once again, a round of applause for assistant to the president for his introduction. Now, I'm trying to make progress. You know what it is? When government, investors, development partners, communities work together, development is easy to be an event. It becomes an achievement. It is now my honor to introduce a man who gives vision and direction. Because good leadership brings transformation. Please, a round of applause for the man with a vision, the transformative leader in the NDDC, the managing director and chief executive officer of the Niger Delta Development Commission, PhD, as he makes his way to the podium for the welcome address. That applause can be better placed for him as he comes forward.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of the
I did.
Fatima GCON. Your Excellency, the Captain of Five State, the President of Five State, the representatives of other governors that are present, the Honorable Minister of Regional Development, Engineer Akamomo, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Regional Development, other Permanent Secretary of Development, the various ministers, the Chairman of the Government of Eminence and other honorable members, the directors of the NDC, directors of the NDC, practitioners, development partners, various stakeholders, the rest of the well-established. I want to use this opportunity to thank the President for giving us this direction and opportunity to change the narrative in the Niger Delta. All that is happening in the Niger Delta today is just a vision of us. Mr. President, break into a commission that was condemned, a commission that was seen to be a filthy rag, a commission that was considered to be a failed commission. With leadership, Mr. President was able to put a team together, give directives to that team, with proper supervision, was able to bring life into the NDC and the NDC is alive again. And I believe most of us are here to honor this invitation because of the renewed commitment and trust we have for the Niger Delta Development Commission. Today, the Niger Delta Development Commission carried out several projects across the length and breadth of the Niger Delta. That today there is that confidence from the people of the Niger Delta and NDC having the purpose of which was established. Today NDC has carried out serious projects like one of our iconic projects, the Kaataba Bridge, which is 1.2 kilometers long, which I would say in recent times will be one of the longest bridges outside Yeko, the Ikoyi, Lekki Link Bridge, and the second Niger Bridge. Which the second Niger Bridge is 1.6 kilometers. The Lekki Ikoyi Link Bridge is about 1.35 kilometers. The Kaataba Bridge is 1.2 kilometers. That is part of the achievement of excellence and transparency in Nigeria, among many other projects that are going on across the region. This bridge is going to be completed by next month. I believe many persons never expected that such is possible under the Niger Delta Development Commission. But with vision, you can see reality. That is why in NDC, we define the goal as transmitting ideas and vision to reality. So this is idea and vision that is being transmitted into reality. Your Excellency, the Vice President, I want to say thank you for making this event coming to be a reality. You have worked very hard and mobilized various stakeholders to ensure that this event is a reality is directed by His Excellency Mr. President. The Niger Delta region is a region that is very rich in oil and gas exploration. Before oil and gas exploration, traditional economy of Niger Delta was fishing and hunting. That is to say, our people survive outside oil and gas. And even in the eastern region, we are part of Niger Delta, or eastern region, or Midwest region. Those that were in the Midwest region were the richest in cocoa. Then those that were in the eastern region were the richest in oil. These produce were most of the cash crops back the economy of those regions and Nigeria. But with the advent of crude oil exploration, it's like we went to sleep. But today, we're here with a shared vision and commitment to make history by putting together the Niger Delta Agri-Development and Investment Summit taking place today on the 15th of July 2026. I believe collectively we are all making history today. This summit is not just one of those talk shops where people just come, talk, and go. This summit is expected to produce results because Mr. President is committed to ensuring that at least the economy of the Niger Delta is diversified and the economy of Nigeria is diversified. That is why one of the major cardinal points of the renewing agenda is agriculture, which is so today, in making that reality, we are going to launch as one of the high points of this event, a $500 million Niger Delta Agricultural Development Investment Fund. And I believe most of the stakeholders that are going to be part of this fund are already in this room. That is why I will ask, or some other persons there might ask, why Abuja? Why not Nigeria? What we have to bring this event to Abuja? Because we are looking for fun. Let us make it easy for the stakeholders, those who have the money, to attend, and not for them to give us excuses. So for the fact that we are looking for this fund, we have to come to them. And when we get this fund is going to be commercially managed. It's going to be commercially managed that will fund opportunities across the various value chain of agricultural investment development. And we believe with this fund properly managed, it's going to change the landscape, the Niger Delta terms of investment. Today, we are all witness to the fact that most of the IOCs are divesting from the Niger Delta. They are going deep offshore because they don't want renewal responsibilities. While they are going deep offshore, let the agribusiness come into the region, and that is why we are bringing this summit here today. To invite agribusiness into the Niger Delta. Most of the agribusiness is giant issue because today all our is a big giant agribusiness that is doing very well in Nigeria. For such investments to come into the Niger Delta is also going to create job opportunities. It's also going to ensure that at least there's wealth creation for the people and there's going to be sustainable development. So with this vision that we are all committed, we believe this summit. For the stakeholders, please, I want you to support
they want the Gimba first. So off the Gimba first, off your Gimba
summit
first.
today is not just going to be the end of what we
Then pull her out.
this chapter in the Niger Delta. Because the fund, we believe, being a commercial investment fund, which is also going to be profitable to those who are going to donate to this fund and also invest in this fund. We believe it is going to be mutually beneficial to both the people of the Niger Delta and also the investors. Because the Niger Delta is a viable investment environment. Today, I can pride myself to say in Nigeria, the Niger Delta is the most secured part of Nigeria. And with that, we believe that is a license that is good enough to attract you to the region. So on this note, ladies and gentlemen, I officially welcome you to the Niger Delta Agricultural Development and Investment Summit. Let us participate with our mind open, contribute where necessary, ask questions, and for the stakeholders, investors, development partners, we need our commitment to change the narrative of the Niger Delta and to move Nigeria forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. MD and CEO, Niger Delta Development Commission, Chief Samuel Ogboko, PhD. Please, another round of applause for him. The summary is the fertile lands of the Niger Delta are as valuable as the resources beneath them. One fuels industries and the other sustains humanity. And indeed, when the Niger Delta thrives, the nation flourishes. Thank you once again, the MD of the NDDC. It's now time to listen to our next speaker. And the next speaker is someone who is providing strategic leadership in advancing the mandate of the Niger Delta Development Commission and fostering a renewed vision for regional development. Ladies and gentlemen, please, with a thunderous applause, let's make welcome the chairman of the NDDC Governing Board, Mr. Chiedu Ebie, Esquire.
Excellency, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, the Deputy Governor of the Kwara State, and representatives of other governments, Honorable Minister, Regional Development, Permanent Secretary, Your Majesty, our traditional rulers, development partners, farmers, entrepreneurs, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. For as long as most of us can remember, the Niger Delta is an answer to one name, and just one name, the home of oil and gas. But the region is never only what to make it famous, it's also what has been waiting patiently to be still. Beneath our reputation for oil and gas lies fertile land, abundant water, and the young population hungry for purpose. This is an international fight towards the organized. So what has held us back got the short attention. As far as always been capital, our people have always been willing. What we lacked was structure. The right capital arriving through the right channels, matched to a real pipeline of bankable projects, and that is precisely what today's fund and council to be established seeks to provide. Permit me, on behalf of the Commission, to commend what is being built here today on 4 pillars. Number 1, a fund to back agriculture at every stage, from planting and rearing to processing, market-ready production, and across aquaculture, cassava, livestock, and beyond. Secondly, coordination with the public sector, multilateral agencies, private sector, and commercial partners already active in the region. And thirdly, discipline, as our 9 mandate states bring forward projects tested through feasibility and market validation. And finally, an institution, the Council itself, to hold all of this together under the leadership of His Excellency, the Vice President, with its Secretariat domiciled in the Commission. This is then more than an initiative we're pleased to witness. It strengthens the work our Commission already carries out daily in every community across the mandate states. And so we do not just welcome it, we stand ready to carry it with the terrain we know, the relationships we have built, and our conviction that agriculture in this region must become a serious business one that attracts capital, feeds agro-processing, and opens its doors to our youths, our women, and our cooperatives, not as beneficiaries or charity, but as owners of opportunity. I would therefore like, on behalf of the governing board of NDDC, to join everyone in thanking the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and Vice President Kashim Shettima, whose leadership placed this summit on the national calendar. The governors of our 9 mandate states and every institution represented here today, whether you bring policy, capital, technical expertise, or discipline of implementation, alone, none of you will be enough. Together, exactly what was going on. The time has come for the Niger Delta to be known, not only for what lies beneath it, but what grows on top of it. That is the future of this summit. That is the future this summit seeks to build, and the Niger Delta Development Commission is together we transform the Niger Delta. Together we feed the nation. Together we transform. Thank you.
Okay, you find some people at the back that
I thought that was better. For the chairman, governing board of the Niger Delta Development Commission. Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, agriculture is a bridge between natural abundance and shared prosperity. And every hectare cultivated is another step towards food security, employment, and economic stability, which we all need, not just in the Niger Delta, but of course in Nigeria as a whole. Thank you once again, the Chairman of the Board of the NDDC. It's now time to listen to our next speaker. You know what to say. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And so it's important that we hear from this strategic leader. And you know, the transformation of our region is fundamental to the transformation of our nation. It is now my privilege to invite to the podium the Honorable Minister of Regional Development, Engineer Abubakar Momo, FNSC. Please, a round of applause for him as he comes forward for his goodwill message. Celebrate him some more. He's a proud son of Edo State, I must mention that. And as a proud daughter of Edo State, I should introduce him properly.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, the representative of the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, you are hereby recognized. Also to be recognized are the representatives of the various state governments that are here present, and also representative of ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let me also recognize my permanent secretary, Dr. Mrs. Mary Ogbe, and all other permanent secretaries that are here present. I can see a number of traditional rulers from Niger Delta. You are recognized, including my good friend, Alhaji Asari Dokubo. And especially recognize the representatives of the Omana Bane Do Uku Akpolokpolo, Eware II, the Oba of Benin Sacred Kingdom. Oba Atokwe, thank you very much. Let me also recognize the presence of development partners and all others that are here present. Today is a very special and unique occasion for us in the Niger Delta as we witness this very summit. And it is with great pleasure that I join distinguished stakeholders at this very landmark event of Niger Delta Agricultural Development and Investment Summit and the official launch of the Niger Agricultural Development and Investment Fund. Permit me to sincerely commend the Office of the Vice President under the leadership of His Excellency distinguished Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, and the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, for conceiving and organizing this important initiative For us as a ministry, our role is supervision, coordination, and policy alignment. And because what we are witnessing here today is in line with the policy of the federal government, that's why the NDDC also came into it. And of course, it's being organized from the office of the Vice President. I also wish to also acknowledge the invaluable contributions of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, our state governments, development partners, financial institutions, investors, traditional rulers, the private sector, and all stakeholders whose presence underscores our shared commitment to unlocking the vast agricultural potentials of the Niger Delta. This summit comes at a defining moment in our nation's economic trajectory. Under the visionary leadership of our Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, the Renew Hope agenda has placed agriculture at the heart of Nigeria's economic transformation. It recognizes that sustainable prosperity lies not only beneath our soil in mineral resources, but also upon it, in the fertile land that has the capacity to feed our people, create jobs, generate exports, and strengthen our economy. Since the discovery of oil in Olobiri about 70 years ago, the Niger Delta has been the backbone of Nigeria's economy through its immense contribution to oil and gas sector. Today, however, we have the opportunity to redefine the economic narrative of the region. The Niger Delta possesses abundant arable land, rich waterways, favorable climatic conditions, and enormous potential in oil palm, cashew, cassava, rice, cocoa, fisheries, aquaculture, rubber, and several other high-value agricultural commodities. These cooperative advantages position the region to become a major contributor to Nigeria's food security and agro-industrial development. This summit is particularly significant because it comes at a time when the federal government, through the Ministry of Regional Development, has taken a historic step towards unveiling the National Regional Development Policy 2026 to 2030, the first comprehensive policy framework designed to guide coordinated and sustainable regional development across our country. Developed through extensive consultations with stakeholders across all 6 regions of all our 6 geopolitical zones, the policy, once it is approved by the Federal Executive Council, provides a common vision for unlocking the unique cooperative advantages of every region while promoting balanced national development. The National Regional Development Policy recognizes that every region has distinct economic strength, and that development interventions must be tailored to those strengths. For the Niger Delta, our cooperative advantage extends beyond oil and gas. It lies equally in our vast agricultural resources, extensive inland waterways, fertile soils, fisheries, aquaculture, and agro-processing potential. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, agriculture today must not be viewed as a business rather than merely a livelihood. It is therefore significant that this summit is not only about discussing agriculture, it is about creating a credible investment ecosystem capable of attracting long-term capital into commercially viable agricultural enterprises. The launch of the Niger Delta Agricultural Development and Investments Fund represents a bold and innovative step in this direction. This fund should be able to transform agriculture from subsistence activity into a vibrant engine of inclusive economic growth by mobilizing public and private sector investment, de-risking viable agricultural ventures, and creating a pipeline of backable projects. As a ministry, we fully support this initiative because it aligns perfectly with a mandate of promoting balanced regional development and reducing economic disparities across our region. Working through the Niger Delta Development Commission and the other regional development commissions, we remain committed to providing the enabling environment that agriculture requires to thrive. Hitherto, as Ministry of Niger Delta Development, we have contributed in area of agriculture, agro-processing. We have trained thousands of young men and women in small-scale poultry, fisheries, and aquaculture, cropping and apiculture, beekeeping. I am proud to say that we have built and handed over different agro-processing factories in different states of the Niger Delta. These include integrated oil processing, cassava processing, rice mill in Abia State, fish feed mill in Warri Delta State, etc. Similarly, the ministry has supplied various agricultural machinery and equipment like tractors, mechanical tillers, tricycle, trucks, boats, fishing gears, smoke skills, and a number of others. We recognize that agricultural prosperity depends on more than fertile land. It requires quality infrastructure, efficient transportation networks, reliable power supply, irrigation system, rural roads, storage facilities, human capital development, and access to finance. Our ministry will continue to work with relevant ministries, departments, and agencies of government to strengthen these foundations and ensure that agricultural investment are sustainable and profitable. I wish to particularly emphasize the role of our young people and women in this transformation. The future of agriculture lies in innovation, mechanization, digital technology, climate-smart farming, and value addition. We must deliberately empower our youth and women with the skills, financing, and opportunities required to build globally competitive agri-businesses that create wealth and employment across the Niger Delta. Distinguished guests, government alone cannot achieve all of this vision. We require strong partnerships among the federal government, state governments, development finance institutions, international partners, research institutions, private investors, farmer cooperatives, and our traditional institutions. It is only through collective action that we can unlock the enormous agricultural potentials of the region. I therefore call upon investors, both local and international, to see the Niger Delta through a new lens, not merely as an oil-producing region, but as one of Africa's most promising destinations for agricultural investment. The opportunities are immense, the market is vast, and with the right partnerships, the returns will be significant for investors while improving livelihoods for millions of our people. As we deliberate today, I urge all stakeholders to focus on practical outcomes. Let us identify investment and investable projects, establish enduring partnerships, and develop clear implementation frameworks that will translate today's discussion into measurable impact. In closing, let me reaffirm the unwavering commitment of the Ministry of Regional Development to supporting the implementation of the outcomes of the summit and collaborating with all stakeholders to ensure the success of the Niger Delta Agricultural Development and Investment Fund. Together, let us transform the Niger Delta into not only Nigeria's energy hub, but also its agricultural powerhouse, one that drives food security, creates jobs, expands exports, and delivers sustainable prosperity for present and future generations. And thank you all for your kind attention and wish us a highly productive and successful summit. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, God bless NDDC, and God bless our Vice President who is here with us today. We thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much.
Please, another powerful round of applause for the Honorable Minister of Regional Development, the one and the only, Engineer Abubakar Momo, FNSE. Thank you so much, sir, for those powerful remarks. Indeed, despite the challenges in the Niger Delta is not asking for sympathy. It is demonstrating capacity. And that is what this summit is all about. Thank you. With your kind permission, Your Excellency, I would like to make a few recognitions. We have joining us the Executive Director and CEO of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Mrs. Nonye Ayeni. Thank you for joining us in the room. Also present is the National President of Host Communities of Nigeria Producing Oil and Gas, His Royal Highness Tamara Nebi Benjamin Style. Thank you for being here. It's now time to listen to the keynote. And you know, every great transformation begins with a bold vision. And this keynote address sets the tone for this vision. It's also going to challenge us to see not just where we are, but where we can be. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I invite a respected business leader and chairman of Origin Group, Prince S.J. Samuel, to deliver the keynote address. Please, a round of applause for him. It is titled Niger Delta, Awakening an Agricultural Giant. Please, another round of applause for him.
Mr. Vice President, our first Greek economist, Vice President, and a very passionate lover of agriculture. Anybody who is in agriculture in Nigeria knows what you did when you were governor. And those investments are still there. We're waiting to see them come to life. We want to appreciate you indeed for the work you're doing for Agric. We also recognize governors here present today, the representative of the governor of Akwa Ibom State. We also know what Akwa Ibom has been doing to transform agriculture. We recognize ministers that are here present, permanent secretaries. I really want to appreciate the ministers that represent agriculture and livestock. Thank you very much for coming. I want to recognize our diplomatic corps that are present today, also here, our core partners in developing agriculture. I want to recognize the management and board of NDDC. I've always said it in the close, but I will say it publicly today. I've been a bit close to NDDC the last 15 years, and I think I want to say that this is the most transformative, the most people-oriented board that NDDC has ever had. I call myself a development engineer because everything I have done has been how to develop the people and contribute to grassroots development. And so when I was called just a few days ago that, oh, we discussed this, you have to give the keynotes. I'm not one who is off to speeches, but I will try my best today to try to give a context to what we must do. The Niger Delta has 46 million people over, and is currently home to over 25 trillion of food market. It is currently the largest delta in Africa, the third largest in the world. It houses Nigeria's largest deposit of fish. And of course, we used to call it the oil river. The oil river you know or you hear about is not crude oil. It's actually palm oil. And you can also refer to the oil that we can find in sharks and whales, which powered the world. I'm sure many of us didn't know that shark and whales powered what we used to use to power homes and even several of our locomotives before we found crude oil. So agriculture is actually a core part of the Niger Delta. And agriculture is one thing that we are yet to unlock. But why? We are aware that state government like Akwa Ibom has repeatedly invested in agriculture, like tractors, Cross River, and many other states in the Niger Delta. We're also aware that NEDC successive administrations have been investing in agriculture one way or the other. But what has been the problem? The problem is that we have been very subsistent in nature. And you can't blame us. This is how agriculture has been done the last 50 years. And we are also very individualistic in nature when it comes to agriculture. We just want to fend for ourselves, eat what we produce. But agriculture has grown far bigger than that. It has become a huge commercial venture. It has its own cartel systems around the world today. And aside from that, it has become highly high-tech. That the crude way we do it now is no longer sustainable, and it can't take us anywhere. If you look at it, the total cumulative size of agricultural capital or consumption in Nigeria is over $144 billion annually. It is bigger than almost every sector. But if you find a local farmer in Nigeria, you find them ragtag, whereas these guys are millionaires. Why am I saying so? Every average farmer in Nigeria earns between $1,000 to $2,000 annually. This same farmer can actually earn $200,000 if the right structure is put to agriculture. So the challenge has been that we have kept it the same way it has been over the years, rather than creating and putting structure around it. So what would I challenge the NEDC to do differently? The NEDC has all the potential. The 9th state of the NEDC is a country on its own. And of course, the nations that make that country within a country called Nigeria has a very, very huge capacity. These are strong people, highly fertile community, and of course, very youthful people. What we can do differently, which we are already pioneering by the grace of God in Nigeria, some of us who know Origin Tech Group, which I represent, is building the largest food logistics hub, second largest in the world, in Lagos. We have put together the largest fleet of cold chain trucks, over 500 of them in Lagos. And so, we believe that this can be translated also in the Niger Delta. Niger Delta can build one of the logistics hubs similar to that of Lagos. And you will ask why. It doesn't produce enough now. But look, that is what is missing. Currently, our markets are unstructured. They are not organized. And we can structure them. We can organize them. And that's where the logistics hubs come in. Before, the first or one of the very successful logistics hub in the world is the Rungis market in Paris. The Rungis market in Paris was completed in 1969. And that was just when the world was finding its feet after the Second World War. Before then, you might not know that Africa actually fueled Europe. We do provide most of agricultural commodities to Europe, which is why most of our rails were working at that time, because most of the locomotives that you find at the rail networks were all feeding the ports with agricultural commodities. And immediately, structure was put to agriculture in Europe, Rungis, Royal Flour in Netherlands. All of this immediately begin to balkanize our agriculture, and on the back of that, our rail system all collapsed. So what am I saying? If we organize and put structure to market and build a large organized market, what will happen is that will pull demand. It will pull capital, and of course, we can begin to make the right transformation. So people talk about infrastructure. We talk about supply of tractors. We talk about a number of stuff. I say every day that we have done this years on years and years again. And by the way, my company is the largest assembler of tractors in Nigeria, and we are currently the largest stockist of tractors. If you want 2,000 tractors today, I can supply it. You don't need to import it. But I will tell you that we must first do the right thing. And what do we have to do? We must put the right infrastructure in place. I am very happy to see a Niger Delta that is not having projects that are completed within time, within 2 years, just at the right time. This is a right step in the right direction. We can see infrastructure coming up, and I must say that the federal government is building 2 very, very notable projects, the Lagos Coastal Highway and the Lagos-Calabar, the Sokoto-Badagry. Those 2 highways will definitely network our agriculture and support what we are talking about. Today also, through the logistics hub in Lagos, we are about to commission the project, and we will be allowing or opening up for people to come and invest. Not only that, we would also create an opportunity for every Nigerian, every farmer to come and get an offtake guarantee. What's an offtake guarantee? You would be able to get a check for 100 million, a check for 20 million, depending on what you produce. And with the logistics hub, what happens? We can store what you bring in, we can tell you what to produce, we can tell you when to bring it to the market. How would this impact the Niger Delta? The Niger Delta can do the same thing. Take, for example, just cast your eyes to the artisanal fishermen in the Niger Delta. Most of these artisanal fishermen go all night into the deep seas to try to crawl as much fish as they can. These fish that they crawl have no definitive market, and again have no storage. Again, there's no capital for the woman who can buy it and dry it. This is what you find in the Niger Delta. And most of the time, these back-breaking jobs end up with men who live in penury. Not because they didn't try, just because we failed to give them an organized and structured market. But with a logistics hub, what will happen is that before he produces, we tell him what catch he should bring, we tell him the size he should bring it, we tell him where to drop it immediately he brings it, we tell him how to grade it and standardize it, we tell him how it can be priced. And he is sure that what he is bringing is going direct to markets. So the logistics hub, when built in the Niger Delta, would be able to create the right kind of millionaires in the farming sector for the Niger Delta people. Aside from this, if you remember and cast your mind back, look at bananas. Nigeria's banana market is actually in the Niger Delta region. Fruits like pineapple, all of these fruits are produced in the Niger Delta. Unfortunately, lack of cold chain trucks, lack of structured market, lack of structured offtake has actually not or killed the existing people or impeded the kind of growth that we expected. What do we expect by the grace of God when the new logistics hub that we are building in Port Harcourt, when completed, we will be able to give some off-chain guarantees to farmers. By the grace of God, we've been working with the NDDC the last 2 years, or the last 1 year over, and designing, looking at the right location, looking at aggregation hub, looking at what we call the grading and aggregation centers, which will be built in every state of the Niger Delta. We would also be building a 5 million metric ton storage capacity, cold, dry, and all kind of storage of food in the Niger Delta in Port Harcourt. When this facility is completed, which is aimed to be completed within 18 months, will be able to open and champion the kind of investment that we are talking about. Remember I mentioned this is a 24 trillion food market. And if you want to do a 24 trillion food market, those who can do the maths will tell you, you need huge capex and you need a very good opex to support it. And the amount we are looking for today is indeed just a tip of the iceberg. Some of us recall that last year, June, Lagos launched a 1 trillion, 500 billion Produce for Lagos Fund. And this fund actually achieved a 1 trillion promissory notes, and this fund, by the grace of God, will soon be in the market operating. So I'm confident that we can raise the $500 million required for this project here. Our organization, the Origin Tech Group, has already made commitment to the MD on NDCC that, look, we are willing, able, and ready, and we are not just speakers. We have done it. People can see what we have done, and you can visit our project in Lagos and all our various projects. Our middle-level markets, which we built in Idioro, has been very successful, paid back within 2 years. It's a model that we want to replicate everywhere. I can talk more and more about the opportunities that are there, but I leave you with this promise. Nigeria can only get better. It can go worse. And why? The federal government is taking the right step in the right direction. We are putting people in the right places. Now we are doing the conversation. With the right conversations like this, we are just moving in the right direction. And by the grace of God, we will achieve our goals. I want to thank everyone for listening. And I want to thank the Vice President, MD of NEDC, and the Champ for the opportunity of this speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our keynote speaker. Well delivered indeed. Thank you for doing that properly and thoroughly. We appreciate you. You know what they say, the quickest way to one's heart is through food. But I want to tweak that a bit. The quickest way to national prosperity is through agriculture. And thankfully, our next speaker is leading that journey. If you have been following the Renewed Hope mandate, I'm sure you would agree with me that agriculture is at the heart of this administration. And the man leading that journey is the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, CON, who is ably represented today by the Permanent Secretary in that ministry. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the representative of the Honorable Minister of Agriculture as he comes forward to give the ministerial speech. It is on the federal government's Renewed Hope agenda for food security. Please pay rapt attention.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Honorable Minister of Regional Development, Transformative Permanent Secretaries here present, the Managing Director and CEO, NEDC, members of the Diplomatic Corps, our royal fathers, distinguished stakeholders, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, would have loved to be here, but for other call to duty, which took him outside Abuja. And he has asked me to deliver this very brief speech. So the content is his, but the voice is mine. It gives me great pleasure to join you at this important NDDC Niger Delta Agricultural Development and Investment Summit. I commend the board and management of the NDDC for convening this timely gathering, which demonstrates a shared commitment to unlocking the immense economic potential of the Niger Delta through sustainable development, strategic partnerships, and inclusive growth. I also acknowledge the presence of Your Excellencies, distinguished members of the National Assembly, state governors, ministers, development partners, traditional rulers, private sector leaders, members of the academia, farmers organizations, women and youth groups, and all stakeholders dedicated to building a prosperous Niger Delta and a stronger Nigeria. Today, I have the privilege of speaking on the federal government's Renew Hope agenda for food security. Food security is one of the most important priorities of the administration of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Shortly after assuming office, Mr. President declared a national emergency on food security, recognizing that ensuring affordable, available, accessible, and nutritious food for all Nigerians is fundamental to economic stability, poverty reduction, national security, and social cohesion. This bold declaration was not merely symbolic. It marked the beginning of a comprehensive program of reforms and investments aimed at transforming Nigeria's agricultural sector into a modern, resilient, competitive, and commercially driven sector capable of feeding our growing population while creating jobs, expanding exports, and reducing dependence on food imports. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Renew Hope agenda is anchored on the conviction that agriculture remains Nigeria's most strategic economic asset outside the petroleum sector. Agriculture contributes significantly to our gross domestic product, employs millions of Nigerians, and provides livelihoods for rural communities across the country. Our ministry is therefore implementing reforms designed to increase productivity across all agricultural value chains. These include improving farmers' access to quality seeds and seedlings, fertilizers, and crop protection products, expanding irrigation and dry season farming, promoting agricultural mechanization, strengthening extension services, reducing post-harvest losses, expanding agricultural finance, supporting agro-processing, and improving access to domestic and export markets. Through the National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Agro Pockets, which we call NACS-AP, we are supporting some smallholder farmers with subsidized agricultural inputs while leveraging digital technology to improve transparency and efficiency in program delivery. This initiative continues to strengthen productivity, particularly among vulnerable farming households. We are equally advancing the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone initiative in collaboration with state governments, development financial institutions, and private investors to stimulate agro-industrial development, create rural employment, reduce food losses, and strengthen agricultural value chains. Mechanization remains another critical pillar of our strategy. The ministry is expanding access to tractors, harvesters, planters, and other modern equipment through public-private partnerships and service provider models, enabling farmers to cultivate larger areas efficiently while reducing production costs. Recognizing the increasing impact of climate change, we are investing in climate-smart agriculture through improved seeds varieties, irrigation infrastructure, efficient water management, sustainable land use practices, digital Africa advisory services, and climate-resilient farming technologies. Distinguished participants, the Niger Delta occupies a unique place within Nigeria's agricultural future. Beyond its globally recognized petroleum resources lies one of the country's richest agricultural ecosystems. The region possesses abundant freshwater resources, extensive river networks, fertile floodplains, vast wetlands, mangrove forests, and favorable climatic conditions suitable for all year-round agricultural production. These natural advantages position the Niger Delta to become Nigeria's leading hub for aquaculture and fisheries, cassava production, and industrial starch processing, oil palm revitalization, rice cultivation in suitable floodplains, cocoa production, coconut development, plantain and banana value chains, vegetables, spices, poultry, and integrated farming systems. With the right investments in agriculture, technology, research, storage, transportation, processing, and market access, the Niger Delta can become a major contributor to national food security while generating employment for millions of young people. This is why collaboration between the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security and the NDDC is both timely and very strategic. We envision a partnership focused on developing climate-resilient agricultural infrastructure, expanding irrigation and water resource development, strengthening fisheries and aquaculture across coastal communities, establishing agricultural processing and irrigation centers, promoting youth-led agribusiness enterprises, empowering women farmers through improved access to finance and technology, rehabilitating rural roads that connect farms to markets, supporting digital agriculture and precision farming technologies, strengthening agricultural research and extension services, and attracting greater private sector investment into agricultural value chains. The Niger Delta should not merely be viewed as an oil-producing region. It should also emerge as one of Nigeria's foremost centers of agricultural productivity, food processing, agribusiness innovation, and export competitiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, no nation can attain sustainable prosperity without achieving food security. Food security reduces poverty, improves nutrition, strengthens public health, creates employment, stabilizes communities, supports industrialization, and enhances national resilience. It is therefore the responsibility of every stakeholder, government at all levels, development partners, financial institutions, research organizations, the private sector, traditional institutions, civil society, and the farming communities to contribute actively to this national objective. The Renew Hope Agenda provides the policy direction. Our collective responsibility is to translate that vision into measurable outcomes that improve the lives of Nigerians. As we deliberate during this summit, let us commit ourselves to practical collaborations that delivers results. Let us invest in innovation, infrastructure, young people, women, farmers, and resilient agricultural system capable of feeding our nation today and sustaining future generations. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security remains fully committed to working closely with the NDDC, state governments across the Niger Delta, development partners, and the private sector to unlock the region's enormous agricultural potential. Together, we can transform agriculture into the engine of inclusive growth, create millions of decent jobs, improve rural incomes, strengthen food security, and realize the vision of the Renewed Hope agenda. I thank the Niger Delta Development Commission for providing this platform for constructive engagement, and I look forward to stronger partnerships that will accelerate agricultural transformation across the Niger Delta and the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you for your attention. God bless the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, represented by the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Marcus Sugumbi. Thank you very much for that impactful message. The question is no longer whether resources exist, but how effectively we can deploy them to transform lives. And of course, it's now time to get to the first plenary session. And this session is entitled, Drawing on Existing Commitments in Agricultural Finance. Please join me as I make welcome the chair of this session, the one, the only Senior Special Assistant to the President on Agribusiness and Productivity Enhancement. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Kingsley Uzoma as he comes forward. Let's celebrate him some more. The very hardworking, dedicated, and committed Nigerian who is ensuring that food is on the table of every Nigerian. Thank you for your leadership, Dr. Kingsley Uzoma. And also a part of the session, we have the panelists. I'd like to welcome the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agric, representing the Minister of Agriculture, to please step forward. I'd also like the Country Director of the World Bank, the representative, please, the representative of the Country Director of the World Bank. Please, a round of applause for them as they come forward. We'd also have Dr. Abdul Kamara, Acting Vice President of AFDB. Let's celebrate them. Also a part of the panelists, we have Ambassador Goita Mignot, the Country Director General EU. I guess he'll be represented by Massimo De Luca, who is now a Nigerian and loves swallow a lot. Let's celebrate him. All right, so also a part of this session, we have Ayo Shortiri, MD and CEO, Bank of Agriculture. If we have the representative, please kindly join them on stage. And also, if we have the representative of the Governor of Imo State, we'd also like you to join for this panel discussion. All right, the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State have been told to call you up for this discussion. Please, let's celebrate her. The only woman in this session. And please, I'd like the organizers to make reservation for her to sit as quickly as possible as she comes forward. Quickly. All right, we'd like the stage managers to please get a seat for the Deputy Governor. All right, okay, thank you very much.
No, stand. I'm moderating it. For the sake of time, we'll have to go straight to this panel, which is drawing on existing commitments in agricultural finance. And that's why we've been able to bring our development partners, multinational development banks, who are providing funding to different portfolios within the agriculture and food security ecosystem in the country. So first, I must thank you all for coming. And also for the management of NDDC under the leadership of the MD for deeming it necessary at this critical time in our nation to see what we can do to enhance the contribution of Niger Delta towards our agricultural economy. So today we are here to actually look at, in as much as we want to raise funds to finance agriculture within the region, there are still existing portfolios that we are not really tapping into very well. So, and we want to use this opportunity to see what each stakeholder here in the podium is doing and how we can enhance the multiplier effect of such funds, which Mr. President, under his love for agriculture, had. In fact, the World Bank recently started the Agro Project. So that's why we're here today. The section will take stock of existing federal, state, and international commitments to agricultural finance and explore how those commitments can be built on to translate into visible investment pipelines on ground in the Niger Delta. Because just like MD of Origin Group stated, in the Niger Delta, we've not really paid attention to the enormous potential within the agricultural sector in the region. So we want to see how already existing investments, how can we leverage on them to catalyze further investments within the region? And that will be part of the pool that will sink into the $500 million visionary decision of the MD. So our discussion today will share perspective on aligning federal, subnational, and development partners' priorities around shared regional growth. And the framework of flow will be, the section will open with the group questions to all discussants, focusing on translating existing commitments into deployed capital and aligning institutional priorities. Following this, each discussant will respond to a targeted question aligned with the specific mandate and perspectives of his own institution or entity. The audience will have the opportunity to engage with the panel through question and answer segment before the closing remark. So the group questions all participants, all discussants, this for all of you. How can existing states, federal states, and donor commitments to agricultural finance be effectively translated into capital deployment on the ground in the Niger Delta region? So I will start with the Vice President of the African Development Bank, Dr. Kamara.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency Kashim Shettima, GCO and Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Excellencies, Honorable Governors present here, Honorable Ministers, Deputy Ministers, our Royal Fathers amongst us here, my colleagues, development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for creating the opportunity for the African Development Bank to be here. Of course, the African Development Bank is a very strong partner of Nigeria. We are engaged in Nigeria using what we call the country strategy paper, which is actually derived from the country's own development framework, basically the Renewed Hope Agenda, focusing very much on infrastructure, of which in its detailed consideration, basically agricultural transformation, agro-industry is part of that process. So specifically to your question, we have had a lot of speeches this morning, and one of them that really was an eye-opener was from a colleague from the private sector, I think Prince Samuel. He spoke of infrastructure, he spoke of especially logistics value chains. And unlocking these really require that we engage in an approach that is really comprehensive. For the Niger Delta Basin, of course, we require an engagement that will look at how do we really come up with, because the question is capital mobilization. So how do we come up with bankable operations? For me, the first will be that we do an assessment, which is already done, because otherwise we wouldn't have been where we are. And then, but the second is, an identification of detailed pipeline of bankable operations, because that is what brings all of us around the table, to ensure that we look at areas of our comparative advantage, and then we can pick out what relates to what we are doing. Of course, when the Minister of Agriculture spoke, you heard of SAPZ, which we are doing. We also have programs that create opportunities for the Youth Entrepreneurship Investment Bank project. We also have, a bigger program that is trying to take advantage of technology, digitization, but also bring small MSMEs to take advantage of that value chain in the context of the IDAs. So again, to your question, yes, detailed analysis, bankable operations, dialogue around development partners to ensure that they pick out what aligns to their own development
If I can
priorities.
get you, detailed analysis is very important so that you have a targeted intervention within the region. That's something we have to take you on after this program on the conversation, the detailed analysis. So I'll move on to Hardwick, World Bank. So how can existing federal, state, and donor commitments to agricultural finance be more effectively translated into capital deployed on the ground in the Niger Delta? And please, because His Excellency the Vice President is here, we have to be very brief in our answers, direct to the point so that we don't spend much time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. My name is Hardwick. I am here representing the country director of the World Bank. So, Your Excellency, I will go over a few of the questions that the chairman has raised, I think starting with the first one, which is how to leverage the financing commitments that are already made by government and by development partners to create capital that can work for the agriculture sector. I think I have two opinions here. The first one is to make sure that there is stronger coordination between the federal, state, and other players or other stakeholders that work in the agricultural sector on policies and programs that are meant to support the sector. I'm saying this because we are all working in this together, and the most important thing is to make sure that we maximize the synergies that can exist across the stakeholders, but also at the same time reduce the areas where we have overlaps and the duplication of effort.
Thank you. If I can get you, coordination is very important, and I guess you're aware of an office, a unit, which is under the Vice President, the Presidential Food System Coordinating Unit. So after this meeting, I think we'll need to have more broader conversation to align, to layer in the Niger Delta Agri-Development and Investment Fund into the operational framework of that unit as regards to their own decision on coordination. So next, I want to hear the perspective of my friend Ayo Sotorin, MD of Bank of Agriculture.
Your Excellency, sir, all protocols observed. For us at the Bank of Agriculture, we've been active in the space in the agri-financing, I would say, window within Nigeria. We have 5 critical programs that we are working with other stakeholders, other partners on. Number 1 is the Renewed Hope Smallholder Support and Value Chain Fund, which is a program set aside by His Excellency, Mr. President, to give $250 million, 250 billion naira in terms of inputs to smallholder farmers. And so far, we've given 20 farm aggregation companies financing for input, over 2 million bags of fertilizer, 32,000 tons of seeds, and also about 500,000 liters of crop protection. Second is the largest mechanization program in Africa, where we spend over $1 billion in acquiring mechanization equipment, which we are getting states to key into subsidized, tractors. I think we have over 2,000 currently. We're expecting another 2,000 extra. About 7 states, mostly in the north, have keyed into it. We're begging the states in the south to also key into it as well. This is how we can open up all the lands in the south to be able to do a lot of cash crop planting. The third program is the 1 million hectare tree crop program, where Mr. President has said we should be ambitious about our program to finance about $2.5 billion across 5 very important cash crops or tree crop: cashew, cocoa, oil palm, rubber, and coffee. Nigeria used to be the second or third largest exporter of coffee in the 50s and the 60s. So it's a very important commodity that we need to bring back, not only cocoa. The third one is the guarantee minimum pricing scheme, where we have about 200 billion naira to give farmers a top-up for every staple crops that they've planted. What I mean by that is a lot of farmers, because of import parity, have lost a lot in terms of the disparity between the production cost and the low cost of commodities currently in the market. Maize, for example, goes for about 270,000 naira in the market per ton. We are giving 350,000 naira to only farmers, not aggregators or arbitrageurs. All this shows that there is very intentional efforts to actually crowd in capital in the agriculture sector for the first time in Nigeria, and it is within the financing platform, which is the largest bank of agriculture in Nigeria, to provide financing to the smallholder farmers in partnership with sister agencies, NADF, NAUDA, and also our development partners as well. We're working with AFTB very closely. We're working with the World Bank, the EU, and a few other partners. In the course of today, we'll share more about the programs that we have, but I think for the sake of time, I would only talk about these 5 for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If I can get you right, the 1 million hectares very much aligns with the bold vision of this fund that the Niger Delta Development Commission want to set up. So that's a conversation that the Commission and the bank will continue to advance beyond this stage. Now to His Excellency, Her Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, how can existing federal, state, and donor commitments to agricultural finance be effectively translated into capital deployed on the ground in the Niger Delta? So you can use the Akwa Ibom as a test ground for the Niger Delta.
Thank you very much, the moderator, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a man who is consciously driving, helping, supporting the President to drive the economy of this nation. I acknowledge everyone seated here. I want to appreciate the earlier speakers, the donors or the financial people that bring the resources to help in developing the agri-chem sector. Yes, funding is very, very pivotal in the agri sector, because it's not just for the subsistence that we are talking about here. We are looking at a farmer that will go bigger and plan for exports. And so the first thing, if I must, I want to take the Akwa Ibom state as a model, having identified the need to build up the agri sector outside the oil. What the Akwa Ibom state government is doing first is to identify the farmers. We group them into clusters of cooperatives, and they are intentionally trained to know how to put up a proposal if we need to go to any bank for funding. If that is not done, a farmer cannot just walk up to get what he or she desires to help in that development. But for Akwa Ibom State, as a subnational, knowing that they must have this base, the grouping of the farmers into cooperative. The governor approves and gives out a free grant to the small farmers, and from there they are able at least to get the skill, know what to do at each stage. Other than that, in Akwa Ibom State, we also identify and note that before you can go into mechanized farming, you need land. And so Akwa Ibom State has identified the land suitable for planting. You cannot ask a farmer who wants to maybe invest in rice farming to go to a dry area. An area suitable for that specific planting is identified, and we have that data. The area for cassava is also identified. The area for palm fruits, you don't just drop it anywhere. There must be specific areas. That has been done in Akwa Ibom State, and that's going to help the farmers to source for the support, the funding. Other than that, in Akwa Ibom State, when I made the remark on behalf of the governor, I did mention that the governor came, apart from the hospitality sector, he was in charge of the agri-care business in Akwa Ibom State before going into the ESCO. And so he had also identified the need for bigger farms. That's the Songhai model, which I mentioned, and is ongoing. The one in the senatorial district is almost there. To help farmers again, the government has opened up feeder roads, mopping up the people in groups to farm. You will definitely have a product that needs to come out from the rural sector. And so feeder roads has been opened up, and what the governor does again to support, to encourage them, is mopping up the product at the end of the day, providing storage facilities, like one of the presenters mentioned, fishing. Those who go out to fish, they come back with large quantity that they may not be able to sell off. And so how do they preserve it? And how do they process it? In Akwa Ibom State, the focus or the vision of the governor is to help the farmers, whether in fishing, in cassava, in palm fruits, whatever farming that they identify to do, to go mega. And that's where we will need the finance to come. And again, I want to encourage investors, people who are interested in what is happening in Akwa Ibom State to come up. Tractors, equipment, which was earlier acknowledged by one of the speakers in Akwa Ibom State, is also given to the farmers to help them go to the farm and do the clearing, do the farming with ease. Thank you. You're pushing me to stop. Thank you.
If I can get you, one of the things you can do to translate existing investments, the infrastructure, agricultural infrastructure, roads, storage infrastructure, these are things that are very necessary to deployment of capital, sustainable capital within the ecosystem. So that's the takeaway. And now to EU, Mr. Massimo. So how can existing federal, state, and donor commitments to agricultural finance be more effectively translated into capital deployed on the ground in the Niger Delta region? So you know we have very limited time because His Excellency the Vice President has other engagements, so we have to be very brief in your response.
Thank you very much. I was expecting a different question, But with regard to deployment of finance, I really stand by what my colleague said, especially when it comes to aggregators, IO. That's the way to go. We cannot keep really thinking that we can successfully finance individual farmers, and this is what we are trying to do with our partners, the banks that we support, like DBN, like FMO, and other banks that are going to be present in the near future. But of course, the Bank of Agriculture, Bank of Industry, and so on and so forth. Just because you mentioned the UDR, the deforestation regulation, allow me just to say a couple of things. Just to remind you, everybody,
we can get to that section later. Just 10 seconds response, one line. What to all of you? What institutional or coordination mechanisms would most help align federal, state, and international partners around a shared Niger Delta agricultural investment agenda? Just one line, 10 seconds. Starting with PAMSEC, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was just about saying that we know that agriculture is mainly practiced in the states. It's not in the federal capital. So as Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, one major thing that we want to do is to involve and coordinate with the state government, the subnationals, because they are the ones that have the land, they are the ones that have the human resources to do agriculture. And so we prioritize taking youth and women and the vulnerables in the states.
Just one line. So if I may take you on your word, is finding the right engagement with the subnational.
Yes.
Because that's the question. So Vice President of Bank of African Development Bank, what institutional coordination mechanism would most help align federal, state, and development international partners around a shared Niger Delta agricultural investment agenda?
I think as we heard from the minister, I think we've had also of coordination. I think the state leadership is very, very important, and that's why you see our model like the SAPZ model that we have, which I will talk about a little bit later if I have the opportunity. It's federal-led, of course supported by development partners. I have my colleague here from IFAD, who is co-financing, but it's actually directly with the states. So for the Niger Delta region, for example, I know this forum is already, a very great step in the right direction. A clearly vetted and well-analyzed investment plan that will come with bankable operations. It's can also be, very much, a way to go that will enable us to look at our comparative advantage and crowding resources.
If I can get you, having state-led assessment backed by the federal government within so now backed by NDDC, that's the right way. So Hardwick, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. On your...
Yeah, I would like to say that at the federal level, the development partners actually have what we call the Agriculture Development Partner Working Group. And this group works with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and other stakeholder MDAs. I believe this is something that can actually be replicated in the 9 states in the Niger Delta to try to understand what we are doing as individual entities, because it's only by knowing who is doing what that we'll be able to coordinate and put our efforts together so that we can support the government priorities.
Thank you. If I may get you, have a replica of the Agricultural Coordinating Donor Working Group. So we have the Niger Delta Agricultural Coordinating Donor Working Group. If I can get your award, we'll start that immediately after this to set up that coordinating working group together with your assistance under the platform of the World Bank. Right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So Bank of Agri, Ayo.
Thank you, Dr. Kingsley. Again, they can be sub at a coordination point, like the donor working group, the presidency of the World Bank has talked about. Also, The central coordination point is the Federal Ministry of Agriculture led by Senator Chiari under the leadership of His Excellency the Vice President, and all of us will continue to work together to ensure that we're not duplicating efforts across the country within the agriculture space. Thank you.
Thank you. Massimo, 20 seconds. What coordination or institutional mechanism do you think will help most?
Yeah, of course, we are also members of the agricultural group, very committed to coordinating, even from, with the ministry directly. And that's also important, let me say, for the implementation of the UDR coordination between national and states is going to be very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellency.
Mine will just be one straight sentence. Effective collaboration between the local government, the state government, and the federal government. When that is done, we'll be able to work together.
Coordination, I believe we can take something out of this. That's the Agricultural Coordinating Working Group for the country. We can have the Niger Delta Agricultural Coordinating Working Group. That's a key takeaway. So finally, questions to each of you. Briefly, 1 minute. I will start with Her Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State. What has the administration prioritized on land access, security of tenure, or agro-industrial infrastructure that you believe positioned Akwa Ibom State well for this kind of investment this summit hopes to attract?
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to say that in Akwa Ibom State, we have a policy that is working because land is very, very important. I did mention when I was making my earlier comments that we have a database for land in Akwa Ibom State, and giving out lands in a transparent way, efficient and equitable land for specific farming is one of the things we've done. Then, apart from that, the government has also identified designated areas for that process. We also, in Akwa Ibom State, protect high potential agric land from being taken over by the urban development. The specific area
classification of land.
And then for you to have a land, if an investor comes in and you need land allocation, C of O, that again, there's a straight effective policy that you can have land C of O with ease. The establishment of the Aqua GIS in Akwa Ibom State is making that very, very easy. Thank you.
So if I can get you digital platform for land administration, makes it ease of business for any agricultural investor. Everything is digitally done. So to the PAMSEC, with this SAPZ program, the Fertilizer Initiative, the new Federal Minister of Livestock Development already, how do you see the Niger Delta region fitting into the broader federal agenda? 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you very much. The SAPC specifically addresses the issue of value chain development and value addition. And of course, we see quite a lot of things being produced in Niger Delta. So currently, Cross River State is a member in the first phase, participating in the SAPC. And so we see Niger Delta to the IDDC to also be encourage the participation of one or two more states from the Niger Delta, so that we can actually hold the value addition processes and develop the production of these crops and then add value to it. Well, it's not just by producing, it's by producing and adding value to it. So we see SAPC in the phase 2, which will start very soon, the phase 2. We expect that the NADC will key in and enroll at least one or two of the NADC mandate states to participate in the program.
Thank you very much. Mr. Vice President of AFDB, Dr. Kamara. So to you, AFDB has co-financed agro-industrial hub projects in Nigeria before, including Cross River and Imo State. What lessons from the experience would be most valuable to carry into the Niger Delta-wide program, especially with this investment fund they're trying to set up?
Well, thank you very much. We have a very big portfolio, of course, in the country of about $6.4 billion in energy, in transport, in financial sector, but also in agriculture. SAPZ is just one. And by the way, the SAPZ, we are currently in 7 states plus the FCT. We're in Kaduna, Kwara, Kano, Cross River, Imo State, Ogun, Oyo, and the FCT. IFAD is co-financing with us and Islamic Development Bank. With we are already at $510 million in all of these states. What does the SAPZ do? I think it's important. It does 3 things. It's an initiative that tries to cluster production processing in a high potential area where you address infrastructure gaps. You bring in roads, energy, water processing plants in a concentrated area where you support production, but also you create an aggregation center where products are sorted, are aggregated, and then you have the agro-industrial hubs. Of course, you have to produce at volumes and scales that are predictable to ensure that those hubs will continue running. And that is where the other program that the minister just referred to, the NACS, that we financed with $134 million in 2024, and this year we've just approved $200 million, but that is now going to go through the BOI, is addressing to ensure that we get the production right. Very quickly, in terms of, you said in terms of key lessons, leadership is key.
Thank you. We need to move on. Now to Mr. Massimo, with EU and due diligence regulation shaping export-oriented agriculture, what would you recommend Niger Delta producers and processors begin preparing for now?
Yeah,
Just 1 minute.
We are present in Niger Delta, specifically in Ondo State and Cross Rivers. I believe that both of them are under the remit of NDDC. And there we work really from the off-takers along the value chain. Now, as you know, we have to prove that land has not been deforested since the end of 2020. So we need the images that prove that. We need a specific effort to establish that all the relevant laws, as the Deputy Governor explained, are respected, whether on land management, on environmental protection, on labor protection. And this is an effort that we need to be able to do together, to make together at federal and state level.
Thank you. Land administration, digital land administration. Hardwick, within the World Bank existing agricultural portfolio in Nigeria, what opportunity do you see for near-term collaboration with Niger Delta Agro-Industrial Pipeline? 1 minute.
Thank you so much, Chair. The World Bank Group has a portfolio of about $2 billion in the agriculture sector, covering livestock development, irrigation development, infrastructure development, and climate resilience. We also have a project that supports rural infrastructure development. But I would want to emphasize on a new project called AGRO. It's agricultural.
1 minute.
Agricultural Value Chains for Development project. It has been approved by the board of the World Bank just a couple of months ago. The total funding is $500 million. It's a project that aims to promote private sector investment in agriculture, but at the same time also provide the government with resources to promote research into seed, into quality fertilizer, and also improve the policies surrounding agribusiness development.
Thank you.
So, Chair, I think besides this, there is also a policy
Thank you. Have to.
Thank you so much.
Ayo, the BOI is undergoing major transformation and expanding its development finance. So what financing window and programs are currently available that Niger Delta
I didn't hear you.
Hello?
Go ahead, please.
The Bank of Agric is undergoing major transformation and expanding development finance portfolios. What financing window programs are currently available that Niger Delta State can immediately leverage from?
I believe the smallholder finance and value chain fund that I mentioned initially, ~250 billion naira. We're working with state governments to do a matching fund so that we can grow the pot to about $500 billion. And it is for us to create sub-funds in states where states bring 10 billion, we bring 10 billion, and we create financing at 9% single digits for smallholder farmers. That's one. Also, our mechanization program, state governors get 40% for the tractors that they buy from us. We jointly create agri-hubs and we manage those tractors based on the fact we have service centers across the country. And lastly, the tree crop program that we're trying to work on. It's a $2 billion opportunity to crowd in funding into tree crop across the Niger Delta states, over 1 million hectares. If we do that, we're guaranteed after 5-6 years to generate over $5 billion revenue for the country every year in cocoa, oil palm, cashew, coffee, and rubber that I talked about. So for us, we're very keen on working with Niger Delta states to realize this potential. Thank you.
These are all Niger Delta value chain. So in the summary, I can say coordination, digital administration, land administration, and also keying into existing portfolio. So I'll take you on that establishment of the working group for the Niger Delta so that we can kickstart this process of fundraising together with the partners. Thank you all, and thank you for participating. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Now time for photograph quickly, just so we can capture this moment. All the panelists, photographers, please take position quickly, if that is possible, or we can skip. All right, just one will do. All right. Thank you very much, the panelists, and of course to the chair of the session. Indeed, this summit is more than a conference. It is a commitment to rewrite the economic future of the Niger Delta. Please, a round of applause for them if you paid attention and you enjoyed the session thoroughly. Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for them. It's now time to listen to our special guest of honor. If you're very conversant with the Renewed Hope agenda, of course, you would know that one of the popular quotes of the president is that power is not served a la carte. You have to work hard for it. And one man who is working very hard to deliver the dividends of democracy to the people of Nigeria is the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a leader known for intellect, humility, and unwavering dedication to the Renewed Hope agenda. A statesman par excellence and a distinguished patriot. Please, a round of applause for the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON.
Kindly take your seats, please. The Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Umo Eno, ably represented by the Deputy Governor, Her Excellency Senator Akon A. Kanyi, and representatives of other state governors. The Honorable Minister of Regional Development, Honorable Abubakar Momo, FNSE. The Chairman, Governing Board of Niger Delta Development Commission, Mr. Chiedu Ibie, and other members of the board. The Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Niger Delta Development Commission. The Game Changer, Dr. Samuel Ogboko, and the management staff of NDDC present here. Leadership is very crucial in every organization. There were so many interventions in the Niger Delta, right from the 1.5% oil mineral producing area development, to amnesty program, to OMPADEC that eventually transmuted into the NDDC. Some few years back, NDCC could be better described as Niger Delta Comedy Commission because they are managing directors who are polling at National Assembly sessions and so on. That's why leadership is crucial. With the coming of Dr. Ogbuku, we have seen a sea change in the fortunes of the NDDC. Members of the diplomatic corps, most especially my Italian friend, the Umala swallowing Massimo De Luca. Italy did not make it to the World Cup. It's one of the giants of European football. So also was Nigeria, one of the giants of African football. So we are on the same boat. The keynote speaker and chairman Origin Group, my very good friend Prince Samuel Joseph Samuel, development partners, our very colorful royal fathers from the Niger Delta, including the social activists, the ever-present Mujahid Asoro Dokubo. Members of the fourth asset of the Rim, honored guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The promise of an agricultural boom is one we cannot afford to take for granted. Nations survive on many resources, but they endure because they can feed themselves. Agriculture is therefore not only the foundation of civilization, it is the first guarantee of political stability. Before a people raise cities, they must learn to feed themselves. And before a state earns the loyalty of its citizens, it must secure their daily bread. This is why agriculture has remained at the very heart of our national agenda. And I am honored to stand with you at this distinguished gathering as we march into the future. What has set us apart as a federation is the ambition of each region, the healthy rivalry among regions, daring one another to dream. Yet no such ambition is realized without leaders who understand that no harvest comes without the discipline of planting, the patience of tending, and the courage to invest ahead of the rains. This is why we have gathered here today with the governors of all 9 states upon 3 pillars: to launch a dedicated investment fund, to coordinate the commitments already pledged to this region, and to inaugurate the institution that will steer them, summoning the capital of the world to this corridor. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we began as an agrarian economy, and the foundation of this nation was laid upon it. Before the barrel, it was the soil that paid our bills. The groundnut pyramids of the north, the cocoa estates of the west, and the palm produce of the east and the Niger Delta financed our early schools and hospitals and underwrote the young institutions of a new republic. Then oil arrived, Oloibiri, some 70-odd years ago, only to sidetrack the journey. For its ease dulled the industry of the cutlass, and a country that once fed itself land instead to import what its own soil could grow. What makes this vision inspiring is that it arises from a region that could have rested on its oil well and left feeding the nation to other hands. The Niger Delta has instead chosen to return to an identity older than crude itself. For the palm oil of these creeks fueled the commerce of continents long before the first barrel was drilled. It has chosen to transform this region, feed the nation, and attract the world. This is where philosophy must give way to action. The Niger Delta Agricultural Investment Fund of $500 million, which we launched today, is a commercial returns-driven vehicle spanning the value chain from aquaculture and palm oil to cassava, cocoa, rice, horticulture, marine resources, and livestock. Around it, we coordinate the commitments already pledged by the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the Islamic Development Bank, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and our private and commercial financiers. Above board stands the Niger Delta Agricultural Development and Investment Council, which I am honored to chair, with the NDDC as its secretariat. Beneath it lies a demand-side strategy, preparing bankable projects across all 9 mandate states. It is no coincidence that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR placed food security among the earliest priorities of this administration, because nations that lose control of their food eventually surrender the control of their future. His July 2023 declaration of a state of emergency shifted our national approach from the boardroom to the ground, across production, market stabilization, and food access. This is why mechanization has been the centerpiece of the drive, and why the administration launched the Renewed Hope Agricultural Mechanization Program for 10,000 hectares tractors over 5 years, alongside local assembly plants, and in parallel with the John Deere Tractorization Program, the Green Hope Project, and the Green Imperative Program. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Theodore Roosevelt in 1910, in his Man in the Arena speech, said, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of good could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcomings, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." In the social media, you can spend the whole of the week pouring venom on the president, pouring invectives on him, for he is the man who is actually in the arena, who had the courage of conviction to take far-reaching decisions, who is daring greatly, and is attested to by our guest speaker. We are very intentional about some of the decisions we have taken in this administration. We are intentional of developing 1 million hectares of root crops, cocoa, oil palm, cashew, with our research institutes, deliberately developing new hybrid planting materials. And in 8 years, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, from the new 1 million hectares, we can add up to $5 billion to our economy. Indonesia is an oil-producing state, but Indonesia in 2025 earned $45 billion from 53 million tons of crude palm oil, exporting only 32 million tons. Revenues exceeded more than Nigeria's oil revenue, or just 50% of what Indonesia earned from oil palm exports. And what about the mariculture? The Niger Delta is the 3rd largest delta in the world. And Your Excellencies, as I have always said, in this great nation of ours, we have no business being poor. We are potentially one of the richest countries in the world. There are certain parts of this country that where if money can grow, you can plant money and harvest tremendous money resources. And what do people in mariculture do? Fish farming, salmon, sea bass, tuna, milk fish in sea cages or pens, shellfish, oysters, mussels, clams, scallops on ropes and on trucks. You can also grow the crustaceans, shrimps, crabs, lobsters, and Niger Delta is endowed with those resources. Cassava, for instance, Thailand, the 2nd largest producer in the world, earned over $3 billion from only 26 million metric tons of cassava, while Nigeria produces of an average of 66 million metric tons and earn less than $1 billion because our yields are 6 tons, while Thailand is getting 22 tons per hectare. So the whole mantra is on increase in yield. And by embracing technology, improved seeds, fertilization, tractorization, we can cross the Rubicon. This country holds great potential, and I dare to tell you that the president of Nigeria is a game changer. He has the courage of conviction to take far-reaching decisions, all in an effort to reposition the national economy. And he is not someone who is prone to blame game, no. For the past 3 years, the easiest way you can earn the wrath of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is to criticize Muhammadu Buhari, no. The buck stops on his desk, and he is ready to take responsibility for whatever that comes out of his actions. When we assumed the mantle of leadership, we had less than $4 billion in our foreign reserves. Now we have crossed the Rubicon. We have over $50 billion, and it's growing, the highest in 17 years. Yes, we have challenges of inflation. Yes, we have challenges of food security or insecurity. But has the government folded its arms? The truthful answer is no. Geopolitics, the crisis in the Middle East. There are nations that are even rationing fuel. Are we rationing fuel supplies to our vehicles? The answer is no. And no matter how long the night is, it must give way to the light of the dawn. Yes, the weather is stormy, but it won't rain forever. I will urge Nigerians, I will urge our development partners to rally around us and salvage the ship of the state. 1 out of every 4 black men, I am bound to say, 1 out of every 4 black men is a Nigerian. And by 2050, we will surpass the United States. We will be the 3rd most populous nation on earth. Our population will cross 440 million people. And by the end of the century, Nigeria will be the most populous nation on earth. This is a great nation. And I would rather be a small fish in a big pond than be a big fish in a small pond. Wherever Nigeria goes, because the trajectory of global growth is facing Africa, and Nigeria will make or mar that transition. Wherever Nigeria goes, that's where Africa goes. People celebrate Botswana. I respect them. People celebrate Rwanda. I adore Paul Kagame. People talk about Seychelles. Yes, the economy has turned the corner. But what is the population of Botswana? Not more than Shomolu local government area of Lagos State. What is the population of Seychelles? Not more than 2 wards in Kano metropolis. What is the population of even Rwanda? The population of Rwanda is half the population of Lagos State. So numbers count. Take it or leave it. Nigeria is a great nation. So, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we began, as I said, as an agrarian economy. And the foundation of this nation was laid upon it. And I urge you, I beseech thee, I wish to impress on us, let us recreate that our agricultural heritage. Let's provide hope to the hopeless. Let's provide jobs for our mass of humanity. I want to commend the government of Akwa Ibom State. Just last week, Agri-Invest, one of the leading oil palm manufacturers and producers in Malaysia, they came to my office with their Nigerian counterpart, Octopus. I called the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Umo Eno. First dial, he picked the phone. And these are people who are willing to invest $500 million on oil palm. They will start with 10,000 hectares in Akwa Ibom. He said, given, let them come and start work at once. This is leadership. Leadership means walking the talk. Leadership is about taking far-reaching decisions. And leadership is not meant for nice men. Nice men should be selling chocolates, ice cream, and overlapping. I want to thank you, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I invite every investor, every development partner, and every governor to treat this summit as the start of an obligation rather than the end of a ceremony. The pond is launched. The commitments are aligned. The council is constituted, and the pipeline awaits your conviction. History rewards those who plant, and prosperity remembers those who water the seed. The Niger Delta has spent generations growing well from beneath its soil. Today, it chooses also to draw abundance from the soil itself. Oil built an economy. Agriculture will secure a civilization. If this summit succeeds, future generation will remember this day not for the fund we launch, but for the balance we restored. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please, we'd like those on the front row to please join the Vice President on stage for a group photograph quickly before the Vice President will return to his office to attend to other pressing state matters. Everyone in front, all our distinguished guests, please kindly join the Vice President for a group photograph. Indeed, history has been made today. The Vice President, a proud and committed Nigerian who is passionate about the country and its people, and doing the needful to ensure that Nigeria is great. This is indeed a defining moment in the journey towards a more prosperous and food-secure Niger Delta. And everyone here, you are a part of this history-making event. Just our distinguished guests, please, to join the Vice President for the photograph. Our traditional rulers, please, we'd like you to stay put. After this, we'll have another session with the Vice President, and that will be strictly for traditional rulers. Traditional rulers, please kindly come on stage to join the Vice President for group photograph. These pictures will make headlines tomorrow in the papers, and of course tonight it will be news on all platforms across Nigeria and beyond. You are a part of this very, very important event, and it's good to capture the moment. Thank you so much. May we all please remain standing. Everyone, please kindly remain standing as we take the national anthem. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for the Vice President as he makes his way out of the room to attend to other pressing state matters. Your Excellency, thank you for your time. Thank you for everything that you do for the nation. We sincerely appreciate you. And of course, every part of this nation, every Nigerian is proud of you. Thank you so much for the commitment. Thank you for the passion. And thank you for the good work. Indeed, the Renewed Hope mandate is delivering the dividends of democracy to the good people of Nigeria and making Nigeria great again. Every other person kindly remain in the room. We are not done with this session. We have one more plenary session before we go on a break and then, of course, continue